What's up? It's Dr. Will James reporting to you, Dr. Will James podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell so you get bell notifications every time a new video is uploaded. It's going to be a goodie. Um, Many of you may know yesterday I was on a panel with JustPearlythings. I believe her real name is Hannah Pearl. She's a white lady from somewhere in Europe. I believe she's in London. Not sure. But yeah, she's well known for talking about, modern feminism and things of that nature. But last night on the panel, we were talking about black fatigue. Now, this lady has already got some skepticism or some criticism surrounding her for her having Nick Fuentes on her podcast, and she offered little to no pushback to his racist talking points. Then she has this black fatigue show that we did yesterday, and I want to get on into it. And she didn't want to use data, facts, or statistics, which is odd because that's what she's known to do when she's talking about women and what they need to do. Don't believe me. I'll show you a little clip here first.
A lot of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people. 95% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. So I understand the complaint.
Okay, well,
So, if you notice there, she just dropped a lot of data, facts, and statistics to substantiate her claim or her position, which is what she tends to do. When she tends to talk about, the amount of women that aren't married anymore, how marriage rates have dropped, how the economy used to be when we had families, when we had the nuclear family. She uses data, facts, and statistics to try to get modern women to understand what they're doing, and understand why they're wrong and why men are right. But yesterday, all of a sudden, facts, data, statistics shouldn't be used. She really wanted to rely on her feelings. And she even said that, like, oh, today we're talking about like how people feel, which to me just points to racism. It points to her being a racist, because why would you want to rely on feelings? It literally makes no sense. Anecdotal evidence is not evidence. We don't know if you're telling the truth. We don't know if there's no way to go about verifying these claims. She was saying things like, oh, I had a black person who was the only person who stole from me when they worked for me, and blah, 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 this and that about a black person. Okay, how do we know that's true? Then she said, oh, I had this one black person who was supposed to be cool with me, and then they made up these stories about me. And again, we don't know that's true. Then we'd also need more context. What did you do to that person if y'all had some sort of relationship, friendship, and then it went south? We need to hear that person's story. So you bringing up all of these, stories, it makes no sense. Like, all of this anecdotal experiences makes no sense. And I tried to tell them that it makes no sense. Anyone can say that, or anyone can pick out, their worst experiences with their 5 or 10 worst experiences with another race. Oh, I'm going to pick this Asian person, this Pacific Islander, this white person, and then I'm going to say, oh, I had this many negative experiences with these people, and then I'm going to put them all in a box. She was trying to validate her racism and why she feels the way she feels about black people. And then they're talking about black fatigue. The original term of black fatigue meant black people being fed up with systemic racism and all of the different things that black people have to encounter on a daily basis, going through different channels. Now, black fatigue, the way they flipped it is, oh, everyone else is just fed up with, black people complaining, and people are fed up with, black people being criminals and drug dealers or whatever. That's the new black fatigue, is what they wanted to talk about yesterday. So I was prepared for this, and I was calm. You always have to, maintain, emotional intelligence, and just be calm and hit them with the facts. I'm a person that really relies on the facts. I can't go wrong. I can't lose, because I'm only going to rely on the data, facts, and statistics. I'm going to be objective. I have no reason to lie or play games. Only people who have reasons to lie and play games are people like racists and feminists. They want to lie and play games and make things seem the way they aren't. There was also, a couple dudes on the show who are like, coons, and I'm going to point out why they are. But yeah, they all got obliterated. And again, I'd sit down with anyone, because you can't run from these facts. So let's get into this video, and I'm going to break it down. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay.
Well,
Hey,
we got Smoothie Queen. I like your name. We got William James. Welcome to the show.
Dr. William James.
Dr. William James. Well,
Do y'all really think she didn't see the doctor in front of my name? Y'all really think she didn't see that prefix?
welcome to the show. And we got Homath. Welcome to the show, everybody. If you want to give a quick intro, feel free. Doug MP, I'm gonna let you go.
So I am Doug MPA. I've been supporting Pearl since she had 15,000 subs. I told her she was going to be big time when she was small, and she's met and exceeded all expectations. I'm a Pearl supporter no matter what. I was there, like, the black people that work for her made Pearl into this, and I support her 100%. I'm 40. I'm in my mid 40s. I've had black fatigue my entire life, so I love this subject, and I'm ready to talk about it.
This guy obviously isn't showing himself, but I think he's black. He has a black avatar. I think he's black, but listen to what he said. He's in his 40s, and he's had black fatigue his whole life. And again, he's talking about this new twist on black fatigue where they're like fed up with black people. So he's one of the coons.
Go. Athena, go ahead.
You want to do each of the panelists? Do you want to start with Athena and then go to Homath and everyone give like
yeah. Athena, go ahead.
So I'm just saying a little about myself.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Athena. I'm from Texas, born and raised. I have a little homestead farm. I like to go on panels and have a good time, have these types of conversations. Shout out to all my my friends on TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Homath, go ahead.
What's
the
up?
legend.
Legendary. I am legendary. I am Homath. I became famous very quickly for complaining intelligently about women on TikTok, and now my skills are going to be used to talk about other forms of political strife.
Cool. Dr. William James, go for it.
So Homath, he didn't really show any skills, and you're going to see that. Dr. William James, author, educator, real estate investor. I guess you can say I became famous with my appearance on Jesse Lee Peterson's podcast, the author of the book Black Supremacy. So I'll let them know out the gate that I'm the author of the book Black Supremacy. And all I did was use this book to combat their talking points. That's why this book is such a good book. You're going to see it be put to use. And I was just, and yeah, Dr. Will James on Instagram, Dr. Will James podcast on YouTube.
And Smoothie Queen?
You know, Jesse, he's funny, isn't he?
Oh, he's great.
He is.
Well, hi, Smoothie Queen here. I debate sometimes on TikTok with my friend Shadwife. Shadwife was invited up here, but she redirected me. She redirected Athena to me, and I largely debate like racism, systemic racism, and feminism and those types of things. But yeah, that's it.
So Smoothie Queen is a sweet girl, and her and I were on the same side, if you know want to put it that way. You're gonna see that she gets booted, and you all can just tell me if she deserved to get booted or not. I don't think she deserved to, which adds to it but you'll just see.
So first off, Smoothie Queen, I have to say that you have beautiful hair and
Thank
beautiful
you.
skin.
So do
Good
you.
job with that.
No, I'm joking.
Okay, so if I have to interrupt you, it's probably because you're going on too long. I want people to make cogent points, so let's try to keep it civil, okay? So I'm going to be asking the questions, and we're going to get right into it here. Let me get the questions. I'm sorry, 1 second. 1 second, you guys. Okay. The biggest deflection tactic when talking about these subjects, I'm going to ask the first question. Why can't we talk about Black people without bringing up white people? What aboutisms? Why is that always the case? Why can't we just have a conversation about the issues with Black people without bringing up white people?
So he said, why can't we just talk about Black people without people bringing up the issues with white people? That's what he said. So pay attention to how this goes.
Is there an order for like the
Smoothie, go ahead. You start talking if you want to talk about
Popcorn,
it.
yeah, let's go for it.
Well, I don't think that's the case, honestly. I think that largely when we talk about like Black people experiencing stuff, maybe I should have expanded more on my background. So I do a lot of just like community organizing in general. I attend a college, right? We'll figure out if anyone can figure out what school it is. But I largely engage in these conversations and try to address like disparities that exist amongst Black people in America and people of other marginalized groups. But when we talk about like the experiences of Black people, what's going on, crime rates in education, those types of things, the discussion largely isn't even like touching systemic racism. Largely, we're talking about like how individual choices impact or like how people make individual choices and like what that means for things.
Let me reframe the question.
We have a different perspective, but that's not my experience.
Because you're not answering the question. Let me reframe it. Why is it that when there's criticism towards the Black community, they have to bring up white people in defense against the criticism? That's my question.
So she answered the question. She was saying that, you know, she doesn't think that Black people do that. The way I approach these things is, okay, I'm sure that there's one Black person on the earth that does that. So I look at it that way, and then I answer the question as to why that Black person might do that. You know, I play their game to an extent because you see how they're looking for any reason to run away from this conversation. I want to have it. Look at how calm and quiet I am, patiently waiting to eat my food. Like they're gonna walk into the chef's kitchen. It's or shall I say, cook my prey. Like.
So your question, like leading might be the word, maybe presumptuous, but
yeah, I'll lead all day. I'll lead all day.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said I'll lead all day.
Oh no, but that's the point. Like you're saying, I'm not answering your question. Your question assumes that this is a reality when
it does assume it. So
yeah, like you're not saying anything that you're saying I'm not answering the question, but you're like, do you see where the disconnect is?
No.
By the way, that dude that popped up on the bottom, Donovan Sharp, he's the coon. He's the other coon.
Oh,
you don't. Okay, so you say that whenever discussions like around Black people, like doing stuff, that we talk about white people, that is not my reality, right? As much as I've engaged with like the community organizing space amongst like Black people in general, that's not my reality. So
what's the first response? What's the first response when you say Black people commit commit more crime? What do they say back?
Well, white boys are shooting up
Per
schools.
capita, that's typically.
No, I meant like if you say like 60%.
No, that's the response. Like, are you talking about per
no, I'm
capita or
saying
raw numbers?
usually when you say that, Black people respond with, but white people shoot up schools.
Oh, but because I don't do. Did you hear me do that? Actually,
we're not talking about you. It's okay.
You're talking about
See, I'm going to provide the perfect answer as to why a Black person would do that if they do that. We already know the majority don't do that. There's a small population of Black people small percentage of Black people that will respond and bring that up, depending on the context of the situation. If you're just trying to attack my racial category and you're from another racial category, then I'm going to attack the racial category you belong to. Like, because you're talking as if your group is so much better, then I have to talk about your group too.
Black collective.
I and me.
Yeah.
How about this? Actually, could I ask a question?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Oh, I can't. Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay.
This isn't an I-me conversation. You don't want to make it personal about you because that's going to derail the conversation. We're talking about general concepts in society.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask.
If you don't have an opinion on it, we can move to the next person.
Oh, I do. But once again, like, aside from whose reality is what, where are you getting your generalization or like your like correctness from? Like, how are you understanding or establishing that this is like reality?
Eyes, like my eyes.
Yeah,
So,
like that reality hits me pretty
like
hard.
There she go with her feelings and her perspective. She said her eyes. The reason why that makes no sense, even from someone who makes the arguments that she makes and some of the topics that she talks about, like with, abortion and stuff like that. That would be like women saying, oh, abortion is, it's don't look at the data, facts, and statistics surrounding it. Just use your eyes. You don't see that many abortions taking place. Like, that would be the same if a woman who was pro-abortion said the same thing. She'd be like, that makes no sense. She'd be like, you have to look at the data, facts, statistics. Facts don't care about your feelings. But here, she just wants to focus on feelings because she knows these facts aren't going to substantiate her claim and her stance. That's racist.
Like, why should I believe your eyes? Why wouldn't I believe my eyes?
You know what? How about this? Smoothie Queen.
I can answer this. I can answer this question.
Answer the question. Just move on, man.
Yeah, we're already going meta on it.
Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, we're already getting meta on the conversation. It's like we're getting into a point where it's almost like discussing semantics already, and we're at 1 minute in. This is something that a lot of people, it's an experience that a lot of people share. That if you want to talk about one group of people, whether it's a religion or a race or whatever, they usually like that. It's just a very common experience. It's my experience almost every time I talk about race. It's like, well, white people do this. It's what I get on Twitter. It's what I get everywhere. Everybody I have ever talked to about it has the same experience. We might not have data on it. We might not have like a Cornell University study on how often somebody brings up comparisons, but we've all experienced it. We all share that experience, and we all are, in general agreement with it. So questioning whether or not it happens is like, for me, a non-starter.
Me too.
Yeah, it's just like it is the daily experience. And to address the question directly, I would say that you're almost getting into like a metaphysical question there. Why do you talk about, if you start talking about one group, why do people bring up another? Well, if there was only one group of people, you couldn't talk about them. We only have one planet, so we can't talk about the other planet, like comparing Earth to live on a different planet. There's only one. So if we're splitting people into more than one group and talking about the characteristics of one, immediately people want to compare them to the characteristics of the other. And in America, at least, the tension between Black people and white people, our differences and our conflicts and everything, is the primary. It's been the largest racial or ethnic tension in America for as long as I can remember, and probably as long as the country's existed. Okay. It's like a flagship. It's like the main group conflict in America, if you ask me.
Okay, Dr. William James, go for it.
Okay, so while this may not be the response the majority of the time, I'm aware that some people do respond this way. The reason I think that some Black people may respond with bringing up white people when you say something like, oh, what about Black on Black crime, or Black people commit the highest percentage of crime, they may respond with bringing up white people or other races because they don't want to be singled out. So they want to point out the fact that other groups do similar activities, or they do other things that are harmful to communities or America in general. So they want to highlight that so that they're not the only group being placed in the negative.
Okay. Athena?
So I clearly answered the question. They couldn't say anything. And that's why Black people who do bring up other races bring them up if you're saying something about, oh, Black on Black crime or absent fathers in the household and stuff like that. Yeah, obviously they don't want to be singled out. You're just talking about Black people as, you know, a race, and you're talking about them negatively. So they're going to bring up things that are negative about, you know, other racial categories, particular the racial category of the person who's attacking theirs. So that's why I answered the question. It was logical, and it was quick. The Doug MPA dude couldn't even say anything. Now, you've heard me clearly answer the question. The stupid idiot Donovan Sharp is going to say I didn't answer the question. Watch. After we a little bit down the road, he's going to forget that I answered the question clearly. He's an idiot. He was too focused on being a coon.
I don't know the reason why, but I see this a lot of times. As soon as I discuss things like issues within women, they immediately say, well, men do XYZ. So I see it happen a lot. I think a lot of it is maybe not wanting to be seen in a bad light, maybe some guilt, maybe embarrassment, maybe not wanting to be singled out. The reason why, that I'm not so sure, but I do see it in multiple topics. So
Donovan Sharp, introduce yourself and give a short intro, please, and then answer the question if you would bless us with your answer.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, guys, I'm a nobody, man.
Oh, stop it!
Knock it off, man.
Oh, stop it! One of the OG
Man,
red
admit the
pillars,
legend. Let's go.
the man who created womanese. Oh, stop it! Oh, stop it!
Look, I'm going to give a pre-existing excuse if I'm not on my game today. I just got back from the Las Vegas Grand Prix about 6 hours ago. Life-changing experience. I know people don't care about it, but I have a profound respect for Formula One racing drivers. I can't even describe it. Anyway, this is simple. The reason why Black people bring up what white people do when we talk about what Black people do is because they know they lost the argument. And Athena was right. A lot of people bring, especially.
That's so stupid. That doesn't even make sense. They know they lost the argument. Lost what argument? You're bringing up what other racial groups do just to point out that they're not perfect. What argument is he talking about they lost? If you're just focused, if you come up with a debate topic and you want to focus on one group, if you're like, we're just going to talk about what Black people do, prove this wrong, and then the person brings up what other racial groups do, then you could say they lost the argument. But no one is doing that. So what are you talking about? Like, that's so stupid. They've lost the argument. What are you talking about?
Women, feminists, they bring up the what about the Mendo argument. And just like Smoothie Queen, she wouldn't answer the question, probably because she just doesn't know, and I wouldn't imagine that Smoothie Queen ever brings up white people do it too in your conversations, because you're out in the Black community trying to do positive things. When you're out doing what you're doing, white negativity or whatever the case may be, whatever white people are doing or not doing, in my opinion, doesn't really have anything to do with what you're doing in the Black community. So that's probably the reason why you're a little bit at a loss, because you're not doing it. Dr. William James characterized this as, some Black people bring up the white people do it too argument. And it's probably, is it all Black people? Certainly not. Is it most Black people? Definitely not. But it's enough of them, and a lot of people say, well, not all women
Well, it's enough of them. Okay, I said some of them. It's the small minority. Whatever. If someone does it, we can answer the question. So, but what are you talking about, really?
Women do X, Y, and Z. No, not all women are hoes. Most women are not hoes, but enough women are hoes to be getting our.
So now he's bringing up something that's not even a comparison to what happened there. That's like when he's saying, like, oh, when someone says, oh, hoes shouldn't do this. And people are like, oh, well, why are you talking about hoes? Not every woman's a hoe. I'm not, that wasn't the question. The guy asked the question, and I'm answering, but I wanted it to be clear that the majority of Black people don't bring up, white people or any other racial group when we're discussing Black people and Black issues. What is he talking about?
Attention. And so and this is in any debate or conversation, when somebody feels that their points are sort of being defeated, they'll go from, just like what Doug said, they'll go from micro to macro. They'll say, like, okay, well, I don't bring up, what white people do. Well, just because you're not bringing it up doesn't mean that enough isn't happening. And I'll end it with this. I hear all the time on my channel, well, white people do it too. Yeah, white people do it too. And a lot of times white people do it more and white people do it worse. And my response to that is two wrongs don't make it right. Just because white people do it too doesn't justify the fact that Black people commit most violent crimes in this country, relative to the population.
I'm going to read a super chat really quick. You're welcome for the $15. Continue not understanding why people don't like you because of bad arguments and not being held accountable, especially Black people recently. I don't know.
Yeah, Pearl.
I don't know how I will survive. Okay, next. When you think Black, think modern woman. You criticize women. They say, what about the men? You criticize Blacks. They say that. What about the whites? The Black vote and women's vote is the same. No accountability.
That's just ridiculous and just stupid. Just ridiculous.
Cool.
Yep, sounds about right to me.
Wait, actually.
And look at him. It says it sounds about right to me. He's such a coon.
I guess I'm a little bit lost now because what's his name? I'm sorry. I think it was Mr. Sharp. You granted that like it likely isn't even like the majority of Black people. However, it's enough for it to draw like attention. Yeah. And someone earlier said that we're not using data or whatever, but like we're using like our eyes. I think that was Pearl. You said that. So if I'm saying that when I'm seeing these conversations, that white people aren't really brought up. And it was Sharp. You said that like, oh, when we're talking about, or excuse me, you said that like whenever I'm like doing the material work or whatever, that likely white people wouldn't be brought up. It sounds like the consensus is that like this is not only like not largely talked about, at least with the majority of Black people, but it sounds like an online, phenomena. So with the question, why would the question even be like leading?
Yeah, I think you're overcomplicating.
This is correct.
I think you're overcomplicating.
This is not rooted in any data or science.
Question. I think you're overcomplicating things and you're muddying the waters because you just don't want to answer the question. The question was, why do Black people bring up the crimes of white people when white people talk about the crimes of Black people? Mm-hmm. And you said it wasn't the majority, so why would we say that that's correct? Well, okay, that's fine. We can we can play word games if we want to. Oh, forget word games, but like, why would we? Hold on. I didn't say all. I didn't say most, but it's most certainly enough. Here's the thing: Black people don't acknowledge. Here's the thing, man. I used to be a nigga. I used to get all in my feelings and emotions. I am a 4-time convicted felon of violent crimes. They were my fault. I was accountable, etc., etc.
So now because he realizes he was once the problem, he was problematic. He has 4 felonies. He was an idiot. He was a knucklehead. So now he feels like he's in debt to, I guess, other communities. And he's like, Black people should feel ashamed, for some of the things that we do because he's the part of the we. He was a knucklehead and he was viewing he's a part of the problem getting Black people viewed the way that they were. So now he's trying to he's cooning so that white people and other groups can see him as good, as cool, as a good person, as a good Black guy.
And until I finally just said, you know what, I could blame that this this person got an attitude with me. No. The problem was this guy right here, okay? I didn't learn emotional control, all right? I grew up with a very weak father, a very domineering mother. Now, my choices in life are my choices. I'm not blaming my choices on anybody but myself. But it would be disingenuous of me to at least not to acknowledge that my upbringing had a lot to do with the influence that my upbringing had in my mistakes. But until I actually sat myself down and said, you know what? You're the one messing this up. You're drinking too much. You're doing too much. You're doing too many drugs. You're getting emotional. You need to check yourself. You need to change yourself. Because when my homeboy actually told me, he's like, look, man, you're a good guy to be around.
He caught himself. He was about to say doing too much narcotics. He was about to say a narcotic. And then he just said too much drugs. I hope y'all noticed that. He was probably doing some coke or something.
Around, but sometimes it's really difficult to be your friend. I didn't fire back and say, well, most of the time I'm a good friend, because most of the time I was a good friend. But there were times where it's very, very difficult for some of my closest friends to be around me. And I think a lot of Black people don't have a lot of outward self-awareness. Anytime somebody talks about, well, what is it, the statistic, 13% of, Black people are 13% of the population, they commit 50% of the violent crimes. It's true, because I'm a part of that 50%. I don't get offended. I don't start trying to reword questions or purposefully try to avoid the question or talk about subjectivity. I just tell them straight. I'm just straight up with it. And it's interesting when we have these discussions, Black people like yourself, you guys do like to play word games. Anytime someone talks about anecdotal experience, you say, okay, well, what about the statistics? Then if somebody comes with the statistics, okay, but that's not what I experienced. Or why don't you talk about your...
No, if someone comes with the statistics, I'm going to address the statistics. He's incapable of doing that because he's not an academic. He's not an intellectual. He's not a scholar. He doesn't know what he's doing. So like anecdotal experiences is an anecdotal experience. It's not evidence. You can never use an anecdotal experience as evidence in academics. If you do a research paper, you write an essay, whatever you're doing, you can't say, oh, and in my life, this happened. That's not evidence. It's a bad score. That's an F. Like, this idiot was just too busy being a criminal. Should have had his head in some books, and he would know that. What are you talking about?
Oh,
that the fact of the matter is, and look, trust me, I understand when you're involved in behavior that people don't approve of. It sucks. It's embarrassing. And it was a lack of character for me. It was a lack of maturity. It was a lack of emotional maturity. But until I actually said, you know what, Donovan, you have a problem and it needs to be addressed, I would not have gotten to where I am now. But it appears that most Black people, when you actually speak facts about Black people, all they do is talk about, well, what about white fatigue?
Did you hear? Wait. Did you
stop interrupting?
You said most.
Don't interrupt me. No, I'm not going to let you do that. I will land.
Well, you interrupted me too. I didn't know that it was
I will let you talk as much as you want. Okay. The bottom line here is that
he said, don't interrupt. This dude's been going on and on for a while now. Like, that's the thing I hate about panels. Like, that's why I like one-on-one discussions. People like to ramble on and then say, don't cut me off. Let me land my plane. Where is this flight to? Like, this flight is like from America to Thailand, or what's another long flight? Malaysia. That was a long flight I was on. Like, when is this plane landing? Like 13, 15, 18-hour flight. Like, come on.
Black people need to be a little bit more self-aware, and we need to start admitting, yeah, you know what? The Black community is absolutely fucked up right now. 75% of mothers in the Black community, they're baby mamas. That's a problem. 3 out of 4 Black women aren't married and will never be married. That's a problem. The average...
Oh, he likes facts and statistics right now, but watch when I start spewing mine.
Black woman in this country is 187 pounds. That's a problem. I was a violent, emotional asshole. That was the problem. I don't run from my problems, but the Black community appears to say, okay, everyone is pointing out what we're doing wrong, but instead of looking inward and saying, okay, guys,
I gotta admit, it's not easy to listen to these people say stupid crap like this when you're on panels. Like, listen to them just continuously just utter this stupidity. But I'm disciplined. You know, yeah, I'm disciplined. I have discipline. I have the facts. Again, I don't like to give people excuses. If we're gonna do this, I'm gonna be quiet. I'll let you get it all out. I let them, because I know that the people who are smart and the people who are honest and really want to hear the data, facts, and statistics, they're going to notice. The people who have their mind made up, whether they're racist or they're feminist or whatever it is that oppose my view, because again, all I come with is the data, facts, statistics. I'm not stubborn. If you show me data, facts, statistics to prove me wrong, then I'm wrong. I'm going to show them that. And the Donovan Sharp guy was like, oh, I agree with the facts. I agree with Dr. Will James a lot of the times. And then at the end of the conversation, he still didn't understand. He still was like, oh, yeah, you're wrong. Like, what? You didn't spit any facts or data to combat or rebuttal what I said. It's just an idiot.
Need to change these things. Well, what about white people? Well, what about them? Well, what about the school shooters? Okay, school shooters are, hold on.
I want to give Smoothie Queen
school shooters are chastised by the white community, but criminals are glorified by the black community.
Because I have a whole bunch of questions. So Smoothie Queen, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, in whatever you just said, you like verbatim said, most Black people engage in this behavior, while you earlier differentiated the fact that you don't even believe the majority of Black people engage in these behaviors. So at the very least, you talked about like, oh, people operating within their feelings when they feel defensive and talking about topics like this. If we're not going to operate off of feelings, we would have to operate off of data. If you want me to grant, for instance, that this is the reality just to engage with the conversation, I think it's important to make that clear instead of just like saying, yeah, I do leading questions. That's just what's going to have to be the reality. So I can grant that. But you said earlier that this was most people. And then you said before then that it wasn't most Black people. Do you remember saying that?
What I said, and what I said was
2 more minutes because I have a bunch of more questions. Go ahead,
we can
John.
move on. This isn't even like I didn't.
Can we hear from Athena?
Yeah, go ahead. Athena, go ahead.
Athena?
Oh, I'm sorry. So I think I was just listening to y'all go back and forth and also messaging people. But I think that if we look at maybe the reason why a lot of people are experiencing Black people not taking accountability for these types of things, we could look at the statistics on Black men not being in the homes. And we could dive into the reason for that. But men are the ones who are teaching accountability. So if you don't have a man in your home teaching you accountability, it's hard for you to understand that. And society has become so weak. Everyone wants their feelings spared for everything. Everything's about a safe space. The other day I was on a panel and the guy was like, oh, we should have areas where you have no a belief-free zone, I think is what he said, where you can't talk about any of your beliefs. And I was like, are we that far gone as a society that we can't even have these discussions, especially in person? People crash out online, but try to have this conversation in person and see how it goes. It's not going to end well.
So I think I actually do think it's most Black people. When you talk about Black crime, I would say the majority do say, what about the white people? It's just my experience.
Just her experience. Can't prove it. Notice I'm quiet while all of these people are talking, just sitting there, taking notes, whatever I'm doing. But I hear them, paying attention, and I'm ready.
And the reason why is I think a lot of Black people are racist. So against white people.
And I think Black people.
That makes no sense. And she's not going to bring up anything to support it. I think a lot of Black people are racist. That's a projection because you're racist. That's why she's saying that. Like, what are your examples going to be? And I don't even do the whole thing with, oh, define racism and, oh, racism has to be with a system. I don't need to do all of that. People will notice. The people who are genuine, honest and observant, they're going to notice. There's no examples. There's nothing to substantiate this. It's just her talking.
The more
That's
racist in this country
been-
than white
that's
people.
my experience.
I agree too. But that's going to lead to the next
Would
question.
I respond to that?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Because I would certainly say it's not the majority of black people. In a response to what Donovan had said about he used to be a nigger, I never was a nigger. I grew up with my mother and my father, and I have 5 degrees and a terminal degree. Never was incarcerated. Have a license to carry in 35 states because I chose to do things a certain way. And when someone brings up, black on black crime to me, I don't need to, respond with bringing up white people, Asian people, any other demographic, because I know the facts. What I would ask someone to do when they bring it up is also bring up who's the most exonerated people. And then when you do things like that, it sort of gives you, a fair balance. So I don't need to bring anyone up. I also ask people, how is data collected on crimes? Does anyone on this panel know how to collect the data for crime reports?
Let me ask you something. Do you know?
So he cut me off. Notice how long I was quiet. He went on his long monologue or diatribe, whatever you want to call it. Then Smoothie Queen went. Then Athena went. And Pearl went. I was quiet the whole time. Why can't you wait? I waited till everyone was finished, and then I asked, oh, can I respond to that? No discipline from this Donovan dude. That's the problem. But he has black fatigue. You're still part of the problem. You're still part of this group of individuals in society who are supposed to be adults who have no self-control. Can't sit there and be disciplined and wait your turn. He cut me off. This is what you can see. We're talking about observable and what we can see. Everyone can see this. Why did you cut me off? But I don't get angry. And Smoothie Queen had to point it out. I believe this is where she pointed out that, are we cutting people off?
Not believe the statistics? Because, and see, here's the thing. Are
we going to be cutting each other off or not? Just
I've heard the statistics. I've heard the 13.
But are we going to be cutting each other off or not?
Donovan, go ahead.
Yeah.
We can rip.
I didn't land my plane. So
Okay. Dr. William, go ahead.
Yeah. So as far as I'm bringing up the Uniform Crime Report, and I did a video on this before. The Uniform Crime Report, the UCR, is how they collect data, and I'm just going to break that down. The crimes, and I forget where I was at. So just to go where he said, believe in the statistics. I'm a researcher. I do my research. I don't just believe statistics on face value. You have to dive into statistics and you have to look for threats to validity. So I did that, and that's what I'm saying. I know how the data is collected. So I see threats to validity there. It's not something that you can just take because it doesn't come from. It's not just based off of. It's based off of arrests, and it's not based off convictions. And then you have to look at how the data is collected. So you have to look. It comes from the Uniform Crime Report, and the Uniform Crime Report comes from reports, and it's not from every police station. It's those who submit it. So it could be flawed data. And
that's why I always say that I agree with you. I think there is flaws in data, but
no, it's not just there's flaws in data. The Uniform Crime Report data, where so here's an example of the Uniform Crime Report data. A person could get robbed, either just robbed or robbed at gunpoint, whatever. They say, whether true or false, we don't know. They say the person who did it was a black person. So now in the police report, it goes down as a crime that was committed, an armed robbery or robbery by a black person. Whether or not they catch that person or not, that goes on the report, and it goes to whatever precinct that person or that crime happened in. So then when that data goes in, oh, here's a robbery that took place and the person was black. Now, this person's description is that the person was black. That doesn't mean that the person was actually a black person. It could be it could be a dark-skinned Asian. It could be and by Asian, I mean someone. It could be someone from anywhere in Asia. They're there. They're dark skinned. It could be a dark skinned Latino. It could be anything. and it could be a dark-skinned Latino or Latina who doesn't identify as Black. That will go down in the crime report as a crime committed by a Black person without there being an arrest, without there being a conviction. It will go down as a part of data as a crime committed by a Black person. That's the UCR. Furthermore, in 2006, the FBI released their own data report saying that law enforcement had been infiltrated by white supremacists. So if these are the people who are writing up reports, they can skew data. Like if the person says that, oh, I don't know, and yeah, it's a crime to lie on a police report, but white supremacists don't care if, you know, they're trying to make Black people look bad. So, yeah.
Be honest, my first line of how I believe things is with my eyes.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, if I go outside, I see more Black people that are criminals.
Yeah, data is fake off.
If you go outside, you see more Black people that are criminals. How? Like, that's just stupid. Where are you at where you go outside and see more Black people that are criminals? You see it on the news. I live in an all-Black neighborhood. I can't, like, I've never not lived in an all-Black neighborhood, and I can't say that when I go outside, let me not say all Black, predominantly Black, and I can't say that when I go outside, the majority of Black people I see are criminals. Like, what? Like, that means you see crimes happening. That's just ridiculous.
Often enough that, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
Go ahead, Homath, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Data is fake often enough that if it conflicts with my understanding of the world, I just go with my understanding of the world, especially if it's something that everyone around me agrees.
Look at my reactions. And I'm trying to control them, but some of the stuff is just so stupid.
With.
How do you debate and identify truth with that being the case?
It's extremely, extremely difficult. So
yeah, like how would I debate a Pearl and, like, for instance, how
well,
could I prove her wrong?
I don't debate. This is I just don't debate because people love to point to sources and then you have to question the sources. And it's like, I don't have time to read this like 350-page document in the middle of the day. I haven't heard of it.
So, like, it's not that hard to fact check a source. Like, that's when I realized who I was dealing with. Like, first of all, certain things, like I'm going to say later, .edu, certain things, you can easily identify whether it's tier 1 or tier 2. The quality and credibility of a source. Is it peer reviewed? What type of source am I dealing with?
Before, you know,
most people don't.
Yeah, and
yeah, that's
I mean,
why you do research.
Yeah,
well,
right. You can do research if you have that. Like, I don't have any time to do that personally. I'm very busy with other stuff.
And when you grow up, you won't have time to do it either.
You're on a panel right now. This is for fun. Pearl's the only one getting paid for this. What do you mean you don't have time? Why would you even argue the point?
Do you want me to discuss my schedule, or are we changing the subject?
I'm sorry.
So I'm not that much of a researcher and I'm not that much of a debater. I know how to do these things, but I don't engage in the whole what are your sources form of debate, because there's a video I did a short version of a long time ago about a study called, what was it? It was called The Myth of Man the Hunter. Myth of Man the Hunter. And the way that this a piece of science starts out is by saying that it is a myth that men did the hunting and women actually did it too. If you actually read this thing, it describes that they had to go to like dozens and dozens of hunter-gatherer communities, and they asked them to tell stories, and the stories, only a small percentage of them included women hunting ever. So they didn't observe any women hunting. They only observed stories about women hunting, and it was only like hunting squirrels. So what they presented it as was women are equal hunters to men, but when you read their own data, it really confirms what we have already believed about it. It's the best example of the disconnect between how scientific papers are used to, spread ideas and what the truth actually is. So when we get into this whole thing about we're talking about data, I think that we got into data when you were asking, how do we even know that people bring up white people when you say, well, let's talk about the Black community, and then people bring up the white one. If I understood you correctly, your question was, how do we know people even do that? Was that right?
No, it wasn't. Or are you asking?
I also wanted to say, I think you're kind of easily manipulated if anybody can shove data in your face and you're just going to believe it.
Yeah.
So,
do you believe that that's the case for me? Like,
I'm not sure.
I don't really know you.
Okay, no, yeah, I agree.
Hold on. Here's the thing. I just want to point out, we still haven't answered the question. All the two of you, Dr. James and I don't want to get your name wrong, Smoothie Queen, all the two of you have done, which is fine, is talk about the question. We're sitting here talking about the conversation and the acquisition of data. And
so he's saying I haven't answered the question. He's talking about the original question as to why do Black people bring up white people when you're talking about Black people and Black on Black crime and stuff like that. He said I didn't answer that question when I clearly answered it. This guy is ridiculous.
This and that and the third. Let's have the conversation instead of talking about it. The prison system, I don't need the statistics to tell me that most people in prison are Black. I don't need statistics to tell me that
this fool just said most people in prison are Black. This Black fool just said that most people in prison are Black. And this is why you can't just rely on your eyes and what you see. The facts, data, statistics literally debunk that easily. Go against that. Like, he's proof. And he's been to prison. He's so stupid.
Black people commit a disproportionate number of violent crimes. Is it most? I don't know. But I think that most of us have, and listen, we can do the passive aggressive and this and that and the third. At the end of the day,
I'm actually just confused.
I understand. I understand. At the end of the day, let's have the conversation. All we're doing is talking about, okay, well, let's talk about data acquisition. I don't even remember what the question was.
Do you honestly believe the majority of Black people the majority of people in prison are Black? Do you actually believe that? Sorry, that was
Black people commit a disproportionate amount
the question
of crime.
was, do you believe the majority of people in prison are Black?
Yes.
Why?
Well, that's crazy because there's I
really want to understand why you believe that.
Well, because the data, the statistics all say so. And have you
There's no data that says the majority of people in prison
you said that you weren't using that. You said
so. Like, when we know someone is lying, like, now the floor is open. And he just lied. Now, we could just let this person just lie like that, but no. Like, why would you say that? Because the data statistics, this is where someone loses all credibility. He's proven he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's blindfolded. He's blind. He's so caught up in his own mindset and bias and the way he sees his own people because of his own experience and him being a bad person, that he says stupid crap like the majority of people in prison are Black. And then he lies and says because the data and statistics says so. Idiot.
Without data.
Look. Just hear me out here, okay? I've been arrested, and I'm not proud to say this, okay? I've been arrested over 30 times.
He's
okay?
like, I've been there.
Yeah, I know. This is, but every time I'm locked up, and I've been, I'm not trying to
man.
Every time, I'm just keeping it real.
You're not going to be able to come back to.
I'll just end it.
He's making the point really nicely.
Guys, I'll just end it on this. I'm not, honestly, Dr. James and Smoothie Queen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not as smart as either one of you, okay? I'm just a guy who sounds a lot smarter than he is. I got lucky and I made a good living on YouTube. Now I can pretty much do what I want. I'm one of those. I'm one of the lucky few. All I'm saying is let's have the conversation instead of talking about it, because anytime we dive in and try to manipulate the question to make ourselves look right, At the end of the day, do the two of you in the middle believe that that there is a problem with Black people committing violent crimes? Yes or no?
So that wasn't the question.
Here we go.
Okay.
Are we talking about the question?
Okay.
That's
Okay.
That's
I'm
fine.
gonna give a new question.
He said I didn't answer the first question, and I answered it.
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
We've been on this question for far too long, so I'm going to ask a new question. I want to start with.
Quickly, can I just point out that Black people make up 33% of the prison population in the United States of America? Not the
I guess I was wrong. It's happened before.
Okay. Wait, why would you say that you're wrong?
Okay.
Hey, hold on. Are you seriously? So you're going to say, how do you know you're right? And how, like, are you serious with this?
Wait, hold up. You said
okay. We're going to move on to the next question.
I don't even know.
So I had to quickly point that out, the percentage, because it's between 33 and like 37%. He said the majority of Black people, the majority of people in prison are Black. So that would mean it would be like 51%. It's ridiculous.
On this far too long. Okay.
Crazy. Where did she go? Jesus Christ, man. Let's have the conversation. Let's
Did she leave?
Okay. I want to hear from Pearl first, Math, Dr. James, Athena, Donovan. Okay. Why are white people wrong? Are white people wrong for being fatigued by Black people?
Notice how they're framing all of the questions.
Who's first?
Pearl.
Oh, you wanted me to go first? No, I don't think
Math,
you're wrong. Because I really don't think you can argue with the way what we've experienced. Like for me, I never really cared about race at all until Black people fatigued me. It wasn't until I really didn't care.
That sounds pretty racist.
I never paid attention. Then I had a Black person steal equipment from me. I never had a white person do that. Then I had a Black person make hit pieces on me that was personal friends with me, calling me a colonizer. Never had that happen from a white person. I actually had 2 Black YouTubers do that.
Kingridges.
And then I had, I could just name all that. There was a guy in school who claimed he was profiled badly by police, but I knew him personally, and he in fact did illegal things like drinking underage and drugs, and then made it a big thing that like he was, oh no, I was profiled by the
All anecdotal. We don't know if it's true. Can't prove any of this.
Police. And so it's like, what am I supposed to do? Not notice?
Yeah.
Like I haven't had the same experiences with white people.
Yeah.
And I lived in an all Black area. When I lived in the Black area, Black people would literally, there would be self-checkout. I would see them like,
oh yeah,
they would have security. And in London, they don't really have enforcement laws there. Like it's pretty bad. So again, that's why I say it's not really all about data, because you could put data in front of me saying that's not a problem, but like, am I not supposed to notice it with my eyes?
Yeah.
It's not all about data now. Remember, she loves to rely on the data when she's talking to feminists. When she's talking about women and the things they do wrong, she relies on the data, which is good. But now all of a sudden, when it comes to racial issues, she doesn't want to rely on data because that would make her argument and her stance look bad.
So racist things Black people have said to me. So like I dated a Black guy, and when I was dating him, Black women said like pretty messed up stuff to me. Am I supposed to not like notice that? You know what I mean? So it's like, even when we don't see race, it kind of comes to us, and like, what are we supposed to do?
I'd like to say to Dr. James, I'm assuming your statistic is correct. I have no reason to doubt that. The fact that Black people make up 33% of the prison population, despite being only 13% of the population, to me, that's not a defeat of the argument, right? Okay, so the prison system is not mostly Black people. But it's almost the same argument as when people say, well, there are more white people on EBT and welfare than white people. Yes, there are. Statistically, per capita, a much higher percentage of Black people are on welfare and EBT than white people. You line up 100 Black people and 100 white people, the number of black people on welfare EBT is going to dwarf the number of white people per 100. So I just wanted to go ahead and make that statistic. The short answer to the question that Doug MPA asked is, I mean, listen, white people have every reason to be black fatigued. But I think that black men like myself and Dr. James, I think that we have a bigger right to be black fatigued, because it's the niggas in the street that make it hard for guys. And I mean, I'm not trying to compare myself to Dr. James. I don't have a doctorate. I dropped out in school. I was a chucklehead, whatever. But when you talk about stuff like this, it's the niggas that make men like myself. At least I can only speak for myself. That make men like me look bad. There's a reason why they lock up the Hennessy and not the Smirnoff. There's a reason why they lock up. I'm being straight up. There's a reason why when you go to the black CVS, literally everything is locked up. There's a reason why I live in a gated community. There is a reason why things are the way they are. And we can, and again, we can sit here and we can try to talk nuance and try to finagle, statistics. At the end of the day, the eyes don't lie. The eyes don't lie. People see this stuff online. And I think I also find it very interesting that black people like to say, well, this is just something you see on the internet. We say all the time, art reflects life. Everybody has a smartphone now. The internet is reality. What you are seeing on the internet, obviously the AI stuff notwithstanding, that I think is a pretty accurate depiction of the world. There is no hashtag white fatigue. As a matter of fact, white fatigue came to a head with the whole George Floyd thing. We talk about, well, what about white fatigue? We've been talking about white fatigue for the last 20 some odd years, but we didn't call it that. But now that people have smartphones and we're seeing the body cam footage, from the police videos, now we're starting to
This dude is so long-winded. Oh my God.
understand. Oh, okay. I understand why things are the way they are.
Okay. Matt, go ahead.
So the question itself, I think, reveals exactly what's going on here. You said, are white people wrong to be fatigued? Why would that ever be wrong? Why would we even question whether it's wrong, how people feel about something? That okay. The question itself is, it's almost like saying, is it wrong for you to feel cold? We have this data that says it's not cold in here.
Right.
But we always he's laughing, but we always question how people feel about something. If a woman says, I feel all men ain't shit, we question that. Like, why are you saying that? It's coming from a place of hurt. And what do you do? How do you treat men? How do you act? What's your history? It's certain things we question because we realize it makes no sense. And Pearl literally does it. If a woman says, oh, I feel we should allow abortions up until 8 or 9 months, we all understand how it's insane. So just because someone's saying they feel this or they feel that, but what are the facts? You try to get them to understand reality and what makes the most sense.
So you stop shivering. Oh, okay. Well, now I'm, right. It's like that when you're experiencing something, you know it. And then people tell you, oh, this data invalidates your experience. Go to hell. We're all experiencing it and we're all talking about it. We know what's going on. We share the information with each other. The fact that we can construct a question like that.
He thought he said something smart, but what you're experiencing doesn't allow you to generalize like that without any data, facts, or statistics. If a woman was in a relationship with 3 men and she got abused by 3 men, and then she said all men are abusive, based on how she felt, based on what she experienced, that wouldn't be enough. You would say those are the men you know, those are the men you experienced that way. It doesn't mean all men are abusive. What are you talking about? Here, we're talking about some experiences, and people are generalizing the entire race of black people based off of it. That's the same comparison as a woman generalizing all men based off her experiences with men. Like, he thought he said something smart.
Is it wrong to feel a way about something is kind of insane. We all know about political correctness. We all know it's gone off the rails. It has been extremely difficult. Like, I have issues based on not being able to say things that I really feel like I want to say. Oh, Smoothie Queen is back. Hi. I have, it's very difficult for me. I have a personality that's extreme in a few ways. If I can't tell the truth, and it's not necessarily that I have to be lying, but if someone says something and I have to be quiet about it, it really bothers me. And this particular issue, has bothered me very deeply over the past few years. Like the George Floyd time was very hard for me because it was just really obvious to me that it was another one of those things where it's being portrayed as if there's this totally innocent victim who's being just viciously murdered just for existing while black. But the reality is, a lot more complex, and, the guy got himself into a lot of trouble. And
that makes no sense. The guy got himself into a lot of trouble. When he got arrested, it was for a counterfeit $20 bill. So bringing up his past has nothing to do with it in that moment. In that moment, he's arrested. You're not supposed to be judge, jury, executioner. Even if the cop, Derek Chauvin, knew his past, you're not supposed to be judge, jury, and executioner for a counterfeit $20 bill. All right. You don't get to kneel on someone's neck for 9 minutes and 30 seconds. What are you talking about? Especially when people are there and they're telling him they're telling the officer, like, move, he can't breathe. You have a paramedic that was on the scene, I believe. I believe one person was like a firefighter or something on the scene. It doesn't even matter the occupation. You had witnesses who were telling this guy, like, hey, this guy can't breathe. And he's kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, what are you talking about right now?
Not being able to even say, this is what I feel about it is like, that's insane. It's crazy that we live in conditions like that it's not even acceptable to talk about how you feel about an issue based on racial lines.
Okay. Dr. James?
Okay, so to address what Mr. Sharp said, you don't have to, have a doctorate to be intelligent. You can be autodidactic, and even if you being a criminal, that doesn't, mean much. Malcolm X was a criminal, and we know his history, and he was rather intelligent. When we look at Black people being 33% of the prison population, even though they make up 13% of the total population in America, you have to consider systemic racism, and you have to consider all of the facts. So I don't know exactly what we're talking about with the fatigue part of being fed up with something, but I do look at data and I do look at facts and I do analyze it. And I look at the type of sources, tier 1, tier 2, what type of source is it, the credibility surrounding the source. So one of the reasons that we have to do this, because a key argument or key pushback when we look at the criminology and sentencing, we have to look at racial disparities. We all know about the racial disparities in sentencing that took place in the 80s and 90s, where they were given significantly more time to Black criminals for crack than they were to white criminals for cocaine. And we know that it's like 1 decimal of a chemical that separates the two drugs. All right, that's systemic. But furthermore, I'll read this to you. According to a 2014 article in the Washington Post by Christopher Ingram, Blacks are far more likely to be arrested for selling or possessing drugs than whites, even though whites use drugs at the same rate. And whites are actually more likely to sell drugs. Whites were about 45% more likely than Blacks to sell drugs in 1980, according to an analysis of National Longitudinal Survey of Youth by economist Robert Farley. Furthermore, in 1995, Dr. Patrick A. Langan conducted research addressing the racial disparity in United States drug arrests, and he found that whites were more likely than Blacks to sell drugs. Annually, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration of the Public Health Service surveys illicit drugs use through face-to-face interviews with members of American households. According to FBI data from 1991 to 1993, white people made up 50% of the people arrested for selling drugs, Black people made up 49%, and other racial groups made up 1%. According to 1991 through 1993, the SAMHSA survey, Blacks were arrested, 16% of Blacks were arrested for selling drugs, and 82% of whites were arrested for selling drugs. Blacks are 49% of arrests for selling drugs, but only 16% of admitted drug sellers, a disparity of 33 percentage points. A threat to validity in this data is the fact that it is based on the honesty of those who are arrested. However, the difference is 66%, and you can't base that off honesty alone. So it shows systemic racism that has taken place in policing and sentencing and racial disparities, which can account for why those Black people are in prison at such a high rate.
I have a question.
Real quick. I have 2 real quick things. Number one, you're talking about stories and statistics from 30 years ago. This is 2025, my guy. This ain't 1993. Number two, how about don't possess or sell drugs? How about that?
Okay.
I have a question. How does this relate to prior arrests and convictions? Because I'm not studied on this, but I heard that
So I brought up the facts. He tries to say, oh, it's 30 years ago, 1993, when there's still racial disparities in sentencing. And I'm going to bring that up when this guy is talking about how does that relate to prior arrests. After Smoothie Queen goes, I'm going to shut this down.
reason that there is a disparity in sentencing and convictions is because the blacks who were selling drugs or possessing drugs had more arrests for other things previously.
Dr. James, would you mind if I answered that?
Sure, but I could easily point that out. I could while you answer it, I could get the stat to debunk it. Go ahead.
Oh, no, my answer is really interesting, actually. So largely when this discussion is being had about like why the sentencing or like why the prison rate is what it is, people don't know about the history of mandatory minimum sentencing and the fact that it still exists right now. So you mentioned, Mr. Sharp, that she mentioned that this is like 30 years old or whatever. We still have mandatory minimum sentencing that exists right now, like for non-violent crimes. How
about we don't break the law? Then we don't have to worry about the.
Wait, no, but so once again, like you asked.
I could show you this.
If we're discussing, go ahead.
I could show you guys.
That was the point anyway. So
I could show you.
That's fine.
I was curious what the rebuttal was to that.
Oh, I have the rebuttal if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to hear it.
I could show you. All right, guys.
You're not muted, Smoothie Queen. What are you talking about?
Can I read the rebuttal?
It just sounds like the two of you are making It sounds like the two of you are making excuses.
Okay.
Hold on, Doug. You gotta moderate better. So if I
just fairly apply,
I want to keep people on the question as to.
I know. I just want to answer a question. Really. Hold on, guys. I just want to answer you said the sentencing disparities.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna show you guys a video.
Oh, just to clear, I said mandatory minimum sentencing. That's a specific thing.
All right, here we go.
At the podium.
I think.
What exactly are you wearing?
I'm sorry.
You have a swimsuit on to me.
No, it's not a swimsuit, and I did not know this was a court day. I just told the lady back there that I'm not dressed properly for court at all.
Really? Yes, you are not. I agree with that 100%. That's very insulting to me that you would come into my courtroom dressed like that.
I apologize. I had no idea it was in as a visit and not a court date. So I was unaware that this was a court date. Because she wrote on the back of the car, a visit. So it was never said that this was a court date.
All right.
Yeah, sometimes there's just like a lack of basic decorum.
There's a lot of factors involved in the.
If I can say something real fast,
like even in this, honestly, even in this conversation, it's like
here's
a bunch of excuses being
here's the thing. There's certain things about Black fatigue that you can't quantify. One of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, the biggest problem is that the white people in flyover states that they don't experience the inner city culture and the crime that are in the cities. But Black fatigue is more than that. It's about you be in Boise, Idaho, at a Whole Foods where there aren't a lot of Black people, but the 3 or 4 Black people in the Whole Foods are yelling and screaming at everybody, loud and taking up everybody's space and determine the peace. You can't quantify that, but people are tired of it. It's not just about crime. It's about disturbing the peace, making noise, taking up space. That is the biggest problem, and that's what people you can't quantify.
The daily experience.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you can kind of like slice the data which way, but you're not going to take away what people see with their eyes. And
I agree with you, Matt.
It's just like even in this conversation, it's like Athena's being really polite. I'm being polite. The only one with an attitude is Smoothie Queen.
Do I sound like
and it's just like
Smoothie Queen definitely has an attitude. It's a very passive.
Yeah, it's very obvious, and and then I just get more fatigued, and I'm like, you guys proved my point. I tried to do a panel with Black people to crash out.
To be fair though, I did cut off Dr. James. I did want him to at least.
But see, if it was a white girl,
but it's not.
So sorry, like that's how it would go. And that's what
Dr.
I said you're not the one directing the conversation, and you have to stop saying I and me on a panel. You don't want to do that. Dr. William James, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to respond if you're reading stats, because
I won't need more than 2 minutes. Probably not more than a minute.
Okay, go for it.
He brought up we want to make sure that he brought up priors and stuff. We want to make sure everything is equal. So a year-long Herald Tribune investigation used 2 databases, one compiled by court checks and the other by the Department of Corrections, to find the racial inequalities in criminal sentencing are rampant throughout Florida. So this is specifically in Florida.
Right.
Blacks spend more time behind bars than whites who score the same number of points on the state sentencing guidelines. So these are people, when you compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, Black people get sentenced more harshly. You want more specifically for you, one judge, Judge Sherwood Bauer Jr., Bauer is spelled Bauer Jr., went viral for his clear racial bias in sentencing Black criminals opposed to white criminals. Judge Sherwood is a white judge who had 2 men in his courtroom 1 year apart for the exact same crime. Charles Leitner was 19 when he robbed 3 men in a 2008 drug deal. Lamar Lloyd was 21 when he robbed a Pizza Hut and a gas station the following year. Both men pleaded no contest, 2 counts of armed robbery. They were before the same judge in the same courthouse. Each had a single misdemeanor on their record. They tallied the exact same points on the score sheet used to determine criminal punishment in Florida, but their sentences could not have been more different. Leitner spent less than 2 years in a county jail. He is now free to golf and fish on the weekends.
Okay.
Lloyd got 26 years in prison.
Yeah, what are the feelings?
I want to respond to that. I want to respond to that.
So there's nothing to respond to. They tried to come up with, maybe it's, the sentencing guidelines and priors involved. I compared, a Black guy and a white guy sentenced by the same judge, and they had the same criminal record, 2 years apart, same exact crime. One got 2 years, one got 26 years. There's no way around it. They're getting stomped out with facts, data, statistics. I gave the name, I spelled it out, look it up, because I'm honest. I want to get down to the facts. Stop ignoring the facts. So that's all I got to say about this. I'm going to do a part 2. This was a long interview, a long night. But y'all let me know what y'all think of the video. Yeah, peace out.